Imagine having the world in your hands. You have millions of subscribers, then you come back to Twitter and post pictures of yourself with a gun. You have millions of Robux, and then you spend it on bad things and people catch you for it. Or you get millions of players playing your game and it just dies out of nowhere. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to the video. My name is Rob. Today we're going to be looking at the 7 worst situations of people losing everything when it comes to their fame on the Roblox platform. If you guys enjoy this kind of video, leave a like or a subscription down below and let me know what kind of video to make next. But anyway, let's go get straight into this. So the first main problem that we have to talk about is Eleons Adventures. So a couple days ago, on February 28th, I actually told my girlfriend right when we woke up, I said, hey, the new Roblox Pokemon game just dropped, and she kind of looked at me like I was crazy. Well, anyway, I come to my desk and I'm like, oh, here we go, I'm gonna film a video on this, I'm so freaking excited. I get on, I'm clicking away, I'm ready to start working on it, and guess what happens? I join a game and I see a bar at the top, and it says 4 hours until release, and I'm like, oh boy, it's gonna be a long one. So I started waiting. I'm gonna try to find a screenshot that I can put on screen because I'm not sure if the game has gotten taken down yet, but there was a whole bunch of rewards that you could get for waiting. Problem with this though is the game hadn't come out yet officially, and this was a fake game. These developers are so sneaky jerks that they made an entire fake Eleons Adventures Roblox game to bait kids into spending Robux on their own game. It is absolutely disgusting. Not only was it extremely exploitative, but what happened was there were 4 or 5 different game passes. And what those game passes were things like skip the queue to play the game immediately. Since the whole idea of Eleons Adventures in the fake version was that it was a big loading simulator and there was a massive queue that you had to make your way to the top of before getting access to the game. There was also a Discord server that you could join. Now, myself as a content creator, I was really interested in Eleons Adventures. I'm a Pokemon fan, I make Pokemon content, make Roblox content. If you mix those two together for a game that's been highly awaited, it's almost a recipe for me to be able to make good content for you guys, which is of course my goal. So of course, as soon as the game comes out and I think that it's by the real people, I join the Discord, and I make a support ticket on the Discord. I basically say, hey, how you doing? My name is Rob, here's my YouTube channel, I want to make content for you guys and possibly make a small partnership. I try to do that and I get banned right away. I look at my girlfriend and I'm like, well, you know that Roblox Pokemon thing? I just got banned. Now, obviously, I'm not making this portion of the video to complain about that. The problem is the entire Discord was fake and they were promoting their own paid thing. They were exploiting these kids by using fake game passes to get them to expect to get to play the real game to fund their new couch, to fund their new apartment. It is stupid and so wrong in so many ways. Now, how does Roblox play into this? Well, it was reported by everybody, myself. Everybody that has been waiting for Eleons Adventures to come out has been told to report it, and most of them have, including the actual developers of the real game. And what has Roblox done? Nothing. The game is right here, but don't go play it. These people suck. And lastly, how do I know that people bought these game passes? You can only rate the game passes if you bought it. And there's ratings on the game passes, and they're not going to get a refund. I hate everything about this. Next up, we have a game called The Streets. Now, I actually didn't know what this was before filming this YouTube video. I know, I'm an unk, and I've been on Roblox forever, but you're going to say I'm a noob. I didn't know it existed. Sue me. Actually, please don't sue me. I don't have any money. All right, so here's the deal about The Streets. The Streets was apparently this really popular game, similar to that game called The Hood that I actually mentioned in the video up here. And that game, apparently there was like a bunch of streets, and the whole game kind of simulated the streets of a city that were a little bit on the rough side, where there's a lot of fighting and mean people. The game had a really big fan base, but it wasn't without its toxic individuals, as most platforms have toxic individuals. This game happened to have a lot of them. Extreme toxicity became almost normalized on the platform. The owner didn't do anything about it. Exploits and harassment were prevalent everywhere, and dev support was minimal. There was nothing that could be done. This was before the times of Discord, where Discord was normalized. What happened was, the players that were on this platform forever, they started to grow out of it. New players weren't really enjoying it because they just got bullied when they got on. So what were they gonna do? They left. Instead of becoming iconic, the game started to become infamous, and for the wrong reasons. Players left out of resentment and not boredom. That doesn't have a good recipe for success. It's disaster and not natural disaster survival. Sorry, I've been trying to do the same line about 3 times. I'm keeping that in the video. Next up, we're gonna talk about MeepCity. So MeepCity is an interesting case, and I did talk about it in the aforementioned video that you found earlier in this one. And MeepCity was run by a guy named Alex Neutron. Man, do we talk about him a lot on this channel? Actually, no. If I had a nickel, I'd only have 2 nickels, but it'd be weird that it happened twice in 2 weeks. But anyway, Alex Neutron was this dude who made a bunch of Roblox games, and they were pretty popular. One of those was called MeepCity. MeepCity, you could fish, you could go-kart, you could teach a school, you could do all of these things, but you could also party. He added a parties feature at some time during the game, you guys know the story, and that went very wrong. What happens when you have a party feature with household objects like beds, a bunch of weird children, and an unmoderated party name feature? bad things. There's a lot of bad things that they're wishing on me. So that was problem number one. And that was all that we talked about last video. But today we're gonna go a little bit deeper into MeepCity. The inappropriate behavior started to become normalized. If you go into MeepCity nowadays, it is a shell of its former self. You have a bunch of emo kids walking around looking absolutely crazy with their weird avatars and their weird roleplay names that have just infested the entire thing. It's like all the nice people got kicked out of a city and all the mean people are there. I don't like mean people. I hate meanies. The whole point though is that it went from being a family-friendly fun game to one where it was kind of just controlled and ran by teens. There's a problem there. The problem is, Alex Neutron was making a lot of money off of these kids asking their mom for money in-game. When they were starting to get bullied off the platform, money started going down, and crime started going up. Anyway, jokes aside for a second, the parties feature was obviously bad, the terrible moderation was obviously bad, but the biggest problem was the fact that the creator did nothing about it. And that's where Alex Neutron lost a lot of his fortune. He was making so much money off of MeepCity, but he didn't do anything about the growing issue in his game. It's almost like, think about a mayor with a city. Say a mayor takes over a very successful city and it's absolutely beautiful, it's thriving, and then all of a sudden he makes his bag and dips, he goes off to California to go chill, and now the city's in ruin. That's what happened to MeepCity. Next up, we're talking about the Pals. So the Pals was an old YouTube group that I'm sure you guys remembered, consisting of YouTubers known as Dennis, CorlHorl, Sub, Sketch, Alex, and I think there's somebody else that I'm forgetting. Or I just look stupid right now. Did you just call me stupid? Anyway, those 5 people made a YouTube channel together, which back in the day in YouTube, it was a pretty common thing to do. You had all these successful YouTubers make a channel together, they all made content, and everybody loved it. Everybody ate it up. Well, we have to talk about a couple of these people, because first we're gonna talk about the good pals, then we have the medium pals, and the bad pal, which I'm sure you know who that is. Why are you looking at me? Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about him. So the first good pal that we gotta talk about is Dennis. Everybody knows Dennis, right? He had almost 10 million subscribers on YouTube before walking away, and we're gonna get into that, but I also want to keep his private life. It's not my freaking business to milk. So Dennis was the de facto leader of the Pals. He was the most popular at the time, and everybody just kind of looked up to him. He was a family-friendly YouTuber, and he really did nothing wrong, nothing really controversial. He had the loudest personality, but he was also the most recognizable for being quiet. It's weird because his personality was massive, but he had a pretty soft demeanor. After the breakup, Dennis kept uploading somewhat, but things started to fizzle out a little bit. In fact, he actually made a separate account for his cat, who I can't remember the name of. If you remember the name of the cat, leave a comment and remind me, I forgot. But anyway, the energy started to shift, and he obviously wasn't as invested as he once was. I don't believe it's what some people say, where it's like he made his bag and he left. No, I think he's a good guy. I think he just lost his love for making content because he probably got bored. If I was making the same kind of Roblox videos multiple times a day for a bunch of years straight, I would also need a long time off. I'm sure I'll come back at some point. But anyway, he was uploading, but his solo content never really like recreated that group chemistry that was once there. His viewership started to decline somewhat because he went past his viewership peak, and once he started to get burned out, he started to more so open up about the stress, pressure, and not enjoying content the same way that he once was. He wasn't canceled whatsoever. He was just exhausted. I'm not trying to speak for him. I'm just trying to give you guys my well-informed opinion after doing my own research, and it just seems like he just got tired. You know, I mean, he worked really hard, and I respect the hell out of the guy. I hope he's doing well. Next up, we gotta talk about Sketch, and that's another good pal that we have. Sketch was pretty much kind of like the outcast, I want to say. He was not really like the main guy, but now he's the second most popular of them all. He was underrated, but he was crucial for the team's chemistry, at least in my opinion. And I thought he was very funny. He never publicly started any drama. He still uploads to this day, and he still gets really solid views. And that's literally all I have to say about him. No controversy, great guy. And now we're getting to the medium pals, where it's literally probably still no controversy, but just more to say, I guess. This isn't really my thing. I like to play video games. I don't know about all this commentary stuff. All right, here we go with Sub. So, Sub, he never spoke. He never showed his face. How do you do it? If you're not Dream, what is up with these green content creators getting millions of subscribers without showing my face? Screw it! You don't see my face. Where's my 30 million? I'm kidding. All right, anyway. So Sub never showed his face, nor did he ever speak. And that's almost how he built his fan base, is he built that level of mystery. He was well liked for being comical and sarcastic and funny in text chat, but he never really made a persona with his voice because it was just never used. He had a lot of videos that was like noob versus pro versus hacker. It was obviously tailored more towards kids, wasn't really my thing, but again, I think he's fine. No scandal. He's just invisible. The man disappeared faster than my last check from my job. Where did my check go? Sub, do you have my check? Oh, I forgot he's gone. I just look stupid, don't I? Don't answer that! All right, anyway, next thing. Next we have Alex. Now, Alex is the last not mid pal. Oh god. Sorry, Alex. He's the last medium pal that we have. He's not mid. He's cool. He was part of the core. I mean, he was great. He made great videos. Very entertaining person. He just started uploading less, and all of a sudden he was just gone. He pretty much just retired. He made a bunch of cool videos and didn't get in a lot of problems or issues and dipped. Again, all of these people are great people. And then we have CorlHorl. Where's my womp womp? Thank you. All right, so CorlHorl made me want to CorlHorl up, CorlHorl throw up, CorlHorl. CorlHorl made me want to hurl. CorlHorl made me want to hurl. All right, anyways. CorlHorl was another original member, and he was a longtime friend of Dennis's. So CorlHorl was making great videos. I remember watching them as a kid. And all of a sudden, in February of 2019, a fan reached out and said, CorlHorl, I love you. I'm a huge fan. Instead of taking the compliment, CorlHorl decided to reply with the comment, cringe, with this emoji. Obviously, that wasn't cool. We don't know what was going on with CorlHorl, if he was drunk, if he was just not happy, if he just was going through a little bit of a day. But obviously, it was kind of unfortunate that, I think it was a girl, was a huge, big fan of CorlHorl, and then all of a sudden, he just goes cringe. Imagine, like, I'm a big fan of Drake, Lil Nas X, you know, all of these singers I like. If I'm like, oh my god, I'm a big fan, I've been, you know, keeping up with your music forever, and they just go, that's cringe. That's so bad. That's such bad fan management. If I had any one of my 3,000 subscribers say, Rob, I love your videos, and I just go, cringe, I'd expect you to unsubscribe. That's so rude. So also in February of 2019, CorlHorl posted some weird tweets, and this all comes from the Roblox fandom wiki. Obviously there's drama all over. This is just where I'm reading my on-screen notes. So if any of this is wrong, I take no responsibility. Fix yourself. But anyway, the first of these tweets said, saving children, less than making money, which I actually saw, so take that as you will. Glad so many of you see it this way, in response to the YouTube Adpocalypse 3.0. So the tweet was obviously criticized by a lot of Roblox YouTubers, and a former fan of the pals said, oh, wait, so you're saying that because someone has an opinion you don't like, they don't have a higher education? You don't need an education to have an opinion. With CorlHorl replying, obviously not what I'm saying at all. These conversations I have with YouTubers on Twitter read like 10th graders. Many of the smartest people never went to university. She later replied to the tweet saying, this is why I left the pals fandom. Too much shade, and now one of the pals members making not needed drama over YouTube ads. CorlHorl then replied with, you probably should have left the pals fandom because you are 17 years old consuming content made for 6 to 12 years old. She replied back saying, you probably didn't see the tweet, but I spent over $100 on my senior school jersey to have the pals written on the back of it. Honestly, I'm shaking my head. And he replied with, cringe. That is messed up. And obviously this was years ago, almost 10 years ago. That's insane. I'm not gonna bore you guys with my opinion. You probably don't care, but I also feel like I need to say it. I would never do that to you guys, and that's why you should subscribe. I will never say cringe to you, unless you get a tattoo of RobNF on your forehead. Actually, that'd be pretty sick. Please don't do that. A lot of who watches these videos are 13 to 18-year-olds. Please don't get a tattoo of RobNF on your forehead. In fact, probably wait till you're 25. But anyway, next problem that we're going to talk about Mr. CorlHorl is the shotgun incident. Wow, that is not a fun thing to say on YouTube. After 5 months of being inactive and obviously removed from the pals for being an asshole to his fan, he posted 3 pictures of him holding a shotgun without further context. Enough said. He later apologized for it and said that he should leave old foolish things in the past. Yeah, you don't say. We're almost done with the CorlHorl, but on May 18th, 2023, CorlHorl was hacked by a crypto scam, and he was renamed to SpaceX. And then a few hours later, his channel got terminated. Then it was reinstated, but then no videos were there. And then it was terminated again. Hey, you guys, this is Rob, like 3 days into the future. I just want to let you guys know that apparently CorlHorl has made a comeback on Twitter, and he seems to be completely good now, and he's apologized for his actions. I don't want to misrepresent people, so congrats on him for that. Anybody else ready for the next portion? All right, next up, we're going to be talking about Robux scammers. So this is obviously like a very much kind of generic one because we've been talking about specific people, which we'll get back to in a second, but this is one that I can speak of because it's happened to me quite a bit. There's a backpack on my character Rob Needs Friends called the Something Designer Black Backpack. You know how much that cost? $22. You know who didn't buy it? Me. My account got hacked. That backpack was bought using all of the Robux I had just gotten for Christmas, and Roblox wouldn't give it back to me. Is this my way of trying to just put my sadness out on the YouTubes? A little bit. Is this my way of saying to whoever did that, I hate you? No. I love all. All right, but for real, what the hell's wrong with you? But anyway, Roblox scammers have gotten away with so much. You saw number one with the whole Eleons Adventures scam. You saw with my backpack example. A big problem that I have with Roblox is not a lot gets done about these people. Their account gets banned, and sometimes Roblox gets reinstated the first time, and if you get hacked again, you're kind of screwed. It's almost like they've turned Roblox into a breeding ground for bad transactions and unfair money purchases to be happening. That's not positive, Roblox. Okay, so all of that aside, it's time for the very last part, which is Koneko kitty cat meow meow. KonekoKitten. Ooh, I gotta be careful what I say here. Everything here is alleged. Alright, bet. KonekoKitten was one of the most recognizable Roblox YouTubers of all time. I remember, I always thought he was weird as hell. That's just my opinion. I'm allowed to say that. I was never a fan of the videos because I didn't want to watch a grown man that called himself a kitten. I just thought it was somewhat weird. But anyway, he built a whole reputation as a commentary YouTuber. He called it a lot of bad behavior, scams, and issues within the Roblox community, which, at the time, was respected. Because people who call out issues, I mean, hey, this entire video is me calling out an issue. But regardless, he always put himself on the right side. And that's something that I've tried to make sure I don't do. I'm not trying to self-preserve or anything like that. I know I make a lot of mistakes and I'm not a perfect person, but whoo, I don't like to compare myself to people, but I know I'm better than this loser. That's why the situation surrounding him was such a big problem. He always positioned himself to be on the right side of issues until in late 2023, allegations began circulating online. Those allegations I'm going to put on screen because I'm not going to say them. Those screenshots and claims were shared widely and they were discussed heavily by the community. What matters for this video is what happened after these allegations became public. If you want to look them up, they are public on YouTube. It is just not my job to rehash certain things because it's gross. I don't want to talk about that. That's not what I want to give to the world. So after his response, he largely disappeared from the platform. Uploads stopped, social media activity dropped completely. Whether people believed his response or not, the trust that once surrounded his channel was damaged and was never going to come back. Rightfully so. So it's really sad that the boy got probably millions of dollars because, you know, he was over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Now just gets to live well after all of that. But anyway, that's gross. We're gonna take this and throw it in the trash can. But all that being said, those are some of the craziest and weirdest people on Roblox. You guys, I can't take this anymore. I was gonna make this video longer, but these people gross me out. I appreciate you guys so much watching this. If you guys enjoyed, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe down below. I appreciate every single one of you. All glory goes to God the Most High. I'll see you in the next video. God bless you all. You guys have a great rest. See you guys next time. Good.